The worst mistakes you can make in Rocket League are the ones that you don't even realize you're making. So many Rocket League players develop bad habits throughout the early days of their Rocket League career, and they carry those bad habits with them as they start to work their way up the rank ladder. The problem is, as you get higher up in rank, these bad habits that you're not getting punished for at the lower rank quickly become the very mistakes that are causing you to lose your games. So in today's video, we'll be discussing how you can eliminate some of the worst bad habits from your gameplay. And real quick, before we do get started, if you guys are interested in having one of your own replays analyzed, make sure you do check out my Discord, which is linked down in the description, as I do offer free coaching through there. Okay, so you got the save here. There's a couple things that you can do better. So obviously that touch subpar. You rotate back to net, this is fine. This touch comes out. As you come over here, you see Ramser jump. At the moment you notice him jump, you realize that you're not going to play this ball. You have about 50 boost. All you need to do in this position is recognize that from where he's jumping from, there is only one way this ball can go. And the only real option is he's about to just boom it into this sidewall with absolutely no control whatsoever. So with that in mind, this is where we talk about the big idea of just staying one step in front of where the play is. Because a lot of players get baited into like, oh, the ball is going this way, so I'm going to go this way. But then it's like, oh, wait, now the ball is going back that way. And now I'm over here, and now I have to chase the ball back this way. When in reality, if you had just hung out in this area, this is where the ball is going to end up. Because it's going to go over there, and it's going to come back over here. So yeah, I would
basically an open net for me, yeah.
Yeah, so I would just grab this pad, like don't go all the way to the corner, because it's fine for you to go this way initially in the case that he's not up, but then you grab this pad and I would turn back to net here, and then watch what would happen if you were here. Bang. Now you have that guy to contend with, so you got to be aware of him, but you would still be able to much easier go out to challenge this. Your teammate's in an awkward spot, so you would have been able to go challenge this yourself, possibly had a shot on net. Instead, you're rushing back out of the corner, trying desperately to defend a possible shot that could be quite dangerous because of the fact that we just gave up this area of the field for no reason. So yeah, be aware of that. Try to really focus on like not where the ball is now, but where it's going to end up based on what's happening. And the big way that I like to do this is when I'm playing, whenever I see any player about to touch the ball, my only consideration is where is he coming from? How is he approaching the ball? And those two questions tell me where the ball is going. So this guy is flying at the ball this way. He's going really freaking fast. So there's no control here. He's just going to boom the ball that way, which means it's coming back. And then I would just adjust accordingly. So yeah, really consider that. Be aware of where the play is going and position for that rather than where it is now.
I feel like my teammate could have lit that for me though. But then again, I'm behind him, so I guess he can't see me.
Yeah, you're talking about this ball right here. Looking at his perspective, I'm willing to bet he doesn't even notice you're turning because he's going to look at the ball. Yeah, because at this exact moment, I guarantee his eyes aren't here. The last thing he probably saw as you were going like into his peripherals was you going this way. So yeah, I would expect him to challenge this ball. So with that in mind, and obviously like you don't get caught diving at this, so it's fine. Like you recognize fast enough that your teammate has it. As he gets this touch, what you need to realize, though, is, okay, he is getting this touch. The only direction his car can really go from here is that way. So with that in mind, we do not also want to go that way, because this is probably where he's going, or somewhere like along this side, and that just puts us both in the same spot. So just identify quickly, he is going over there. Okay, cool. We'll just go like this, and take these pads up the field. Because that'll give us like 40 some boost to work with. We can stay involved in the play. And then let's again play that game of like if we didn't. So I think he's going to... Oh no, he didn't even get that one. So yeah, if you had just gone this way, like you're not in threat of being bumped. You could have gotten this one. And you were going to the same spot anyway, like roughly. Like actually you're flipping back now because you're on 0 boost, which we'll talk about that in a second. But imagine if you were here, like you probably again wouldn't shoot this, but this at least is an opportunity to at least keep offensive pressure on. And you're at least involved. Instead, you're, yeah. So, yeah. Just be aware of where your teammate's going and don't go right with him, because then you got yourself caught here and your brain, instead of just like sacrificing that you got 0 boost here and going back and taking like small pads, you just rotated all the way back, which is what you want to avoid. So this is like the cardinal sin of boost in Rocket League, is being upfield with low boost. And rather than just being like, all right, let me see what pads I can get so I can stay involved in the play, even though you guys are on offense, you go, nah, I'm good. And you just go all the way back. So you'll notice your teammate has not recovered well off this play. He's, you know, he's doing this. Actually, he's recovered decently. But yeah, you are now in a 2v1, basically, with the entire field for your opponents to work with. All because you didn't want to take small pads. So start to work it into your brain that you do not need full boost to make a play on the ball. So rather than going all the way back at this point, what I would do is recognize this ball is going into the corner. You go into the right area, but instead of going that way, all you should do is go here, then go here. And as you get here, you can then assess what's happening. From here, if the ball goes to the midfield, you can turn and take this pad. If the ball goes back to the outside, you could turn and take this pad and still be all the way up here. So like the ball kind of went into like the middle of that area, so it's a little bit more awkward. But you can still like turn and get this and then just be ready to like play out. But you still have 36.
Like big challenge or something, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because your teammate's applying pressure, you can at least apply the pressure here, make sure this guy can't take control. Or as you get close, you'd bait out a random touch, and then you could just go challenge this ball along the wall. Because you could have read that was where it was going. Instead, you're miles out of the play. So really look for getting boost. You don't need to run out of the play to get full. You can commit just to the small pads, and you'll be perfectly fine to stay in the play. This one's going to be another lack of confidence. Yep. This is the exact moment I'm talking about where you wanted to retreat back to net. You have a couple options here, because once you get back here, you're in a real awkward spot. So, number one, I don't think you need to rotate back as far as you do. It's very important to recognize right here, we have 33 boost. There's a pad here. Our teammate is getting a free touch back that way. So again, we don't want to be all the way back here creating this massive gap, because that's just going to put us in a bad spot. So if we had just like grabbed this boost and turned back upfield, we would have been closer to whatever was happening without having to cover as much ground to get back. So that's number one. I don't think you need to flip all the way back. Number two, this is confidence. This ball is yours. Like this is that you can just go. But the important thing to recognize is whenever your opponent flips into the ball like this, if you're watching them, they're about to front flip. They physically cannot get back to that ball. If you just go, it's a clean win. So just have that confidence. Honestly, your best bet, just jump now. If you just jump, you have time in the air then to adjust your course to get a touch. So this is your best opportunity to go for the ball, so just have that confidence. And again, if you miss it, so what? At least you tried. Once you get here, this is when it's important to recognize where your teammate was. So your teammate has full boost. You've just seen him pick up that mid. Even if you don't decide to play this ball, like maybe you're just like, you know what? I don't really want to just give away possession by booming it back downfield. Okay, sure. As you turn back, the important thing to realize is the last thing you see from your teammate is him going behind you. Right here. He is turning back towards the net. So he is going to be behind you, so you don't need to defend the net. You should pressure the ball because you are now first man up on this play. So rather than going to the net, I think you should go more aggressively towards this area. Because then, as this ball rolls, you could have just been here to challenge. Because you would have been able to read, like, that area-ish, and you at least would have been in the same spot as him. And then you could have been here to in his face immediately. Instead, what happens is both you and your teammate end up in the same spot. Ish.
Yeah. I guess this is one of those situations where my teammate would spam me, and I should have actually gone for the ball, you know?
Yeah, because now he's like, he can't go. Like, there's nothing he can really do, and this is just super awkward, because that bounce off the wall once it gets here is terrible.
Yeah.
It's really hard to read that. So yeah, just try to cut off that space early. If they're going to boom the ball away from themselves, take advantage of the fact that they're no longer in control to position yourself for at least a 50-50. If not a free ball for yourself. But yeah, this is exactly that position where your teammate would be like, why on earth did my teammate not challenge the ball? And then do not turn for this. the ball is past you, that is okay. You can just leave. You don't want to turn because your teammate, seeing you in this position, is going to assume this is his. So reposition off of that idea. Don't do this. Because your teammate literally has to jump over you to make this touch. And now you're both in the same spot. And now there's no one available to receive any kind of pass, even if it does happen. And this probably should be a goal. It's not, but it should be. But yeah, you kind of get yourself caught in what I like to call no man's land here. Because you almost cut off your teammate. And then if you're going to go for this ball, you have to go now. You basically have a choice to make here. You're either going to hard dive at this thing and try desperately to get a touch, or you're dipping. You cannot linger here because all this does is leave you in a spot where you're doing basically nothing and your opponents can just hit the ball over you. So you can't do this. You have to do one or the other. And if you're not sure how to actually make contact with this ball effectively, you're better off just turning back towards your own net and waiting. Because you are also last back, so you don't want to have any kind of dive where you get beat. Because, yeah, obviously this should have been in the net twice.
Yeah.
Because he should have scored the initial touch, and then he should have had that read. Also, here, be careful of these turns. This ball is bouncing right back out. You have no idea if there's an opponent right here waiting. You can't really afford to turn like this, because if there is an opponent here, it's just free, like right in this area. So I honestly, in these spots, if you don't know, you should just start, like, realistically backing up. Just to stay close to this ball so you can force a challenge if someone is here. To alleviate this problem, as you're rotating back, like right here, there is nothing for you to do but drive in a straight line. Use your rear view. Look to see if that other opponent is moving up the field too. Because if by any chance this guy misses it, you need to know if there's going to be another challenge coming in. It's just very important to have that information. Obviously, right now, we're assuming this is just a goal, but don't take this for granted. I have seen many a worse miss at the GC level. So always play through the moment the ball goes across the line. If it's not across the line yet, take any information that's available to you to give yourself the best chance to be successful. Good patience as well. That's fine. Again, positioning on rotate. Yep. Should have been a goal. He just attacked it way too slow. So same thing. You make a great play, honestly, this entire time. Just rotate wide. You do not need to be back in net yet. There's no threat on this ball. When you're rotating, the immediate question you need to ask for how fast you need to get back is there a threat? If the answer is no, take your time. So you could have gone all the way out here like this. You probably would have been like, I don't know, here. Now you're chilling. Probably like back here. Now you're here. And, oh, look. That's free ball. All yours. Because your teammate can't go, and you would have been able to cut off that guy. And actually, you probably would have given yourself an open net because he's probably just going to dive. He's probably not going to be smart about this. But instead, you were stuck backwards when the ball came out, which is about the worst thing you can do, is that right there. And if you ever find that you end up facing backwards when the ball comes out, it probably means that you got to the spot you were in on the field too early. Because the only reason you would ever have to make this additional movement is if you were just kind of had to wait for something to happen. And it just means you're not in the best position you could be. Because, yeah, again, this should be a goal. Romser just doesn't go fast enough. This is, again, one where I think you just move upfield too far. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get all the way up here. You're going to realize that you're not really in a position to help with anything. And then in response to that, this is, like, exactly the same situation, only instead of doing, like, one of your circles, you just keep going to the right. Even though there's no obvious evidence of why you would want to be over there. Because there's clearly a 50-50 coming. So now you're all the way over here when the ball pops out. And now imagine if instead of that, we had taken that boost, recognized teammate wins, we move upfield slowly. Just, you know, take this pad, just chilling here. Ish. Yep. There it is. The moral of the story, when your team is moving up on offense, you normally want to move upfield slower than you think you do. Because a lot of players want to play fast, so they just go upfield as fast as humanly possible, and they don't consider the fact that in doing so, they're putting themselves in a bad position. Focus on gaining speed in the game from putting yourself in the right spot. Because that's how high-level players play fast. They don't play fast because they're moving around the field faster. Like, their cars move at the same speed as every other rank. Like a bronze's car moves as fast as an SSL. The thing that separates those is that the SSL puts themselves in the correct spot every single time. The key to speed is positioning, and the timing of that positioning, to be there when the ball pops out. So yeah, I would always encourage, if you feel like you're constantly not in a position to play a ball that's popping out loose, so whenever you see a thing like this, if you're not in the position to be able to play that, you should be able to assume that it was because you pushed too far forward, and weren't ready for the pop out. Again, you're not covering a whole lot of options from over here. From this area and a little bit further back, you have all the options covered. And like we said, we've done enough to get the win in this game, which is good. But at the end of the day, even in a win, there's still a lot of things that are like, yeah, it could be significantly better.
Yeah.
And even here, this is exactly, again, the same thing. Like, do not move up the field too fast. Your teammate is not on this ball. The only person who can touch this ball is Ramzer. Why do we want to be upfield? Like, why do we want to be here? What are we doing there? Nothing. This ball is probably either going to this corner, it's going over here, it's going over here. It's not going to be here. So,
yeah,
we chill on our boost, we just drive, see what happens, and then play off of it. Give yourself space to react to the play. Don't try to put yourself in a spot where you're just hoping for something good to happen. Because that's oftentimes a lot of what will happen at like the champ rank, is you'll put yourself in a spot, the ball will come to you, and you'll be like, oh, that was great, so that must have been good. When in reality, you kind of got lucky that the ball just came exactly to where you were. It wasn't like you were positioned for everything. You just got lucky that the thing you were positioning for is what happened. As you guys can see, we're not talking about anything overly complex. We're simply talking about things that will allow us to stay more in control of the game overall, as well as help to put ourselves in better positions to be able to make a play whenever we are needed. None of these things are overly difficult, and yet if you don't improve on these things early, they are going to come back to bite you when you're trying to push into the highest ranks of the game. So if you want to push yourself to the next level, make sure you check your own gameplay to make sure you're eliminating as many of these bad habits as possible. Of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, if you'd like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, feel free to join my Discord, which I'll have linked down in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.